All right, let's take a trip back in time. But forget all the elegant, stuffy history you learned in school. We're going to Napoleonic France. And trust me, things were way, way weirder than you can possibly imagine.
So when you picture that era, what pops into your head? You thinking grand balls, powdered wigs, maybe some romantic duel at dawn? Yeah, we're about to absolutely smash that pretty picture to pieces.
Okay, so picture this. We're in Paris, right after the absolute bloodbath of the Revolution. This isn't the city of light, folks. This is a city with some serious collective PTSD. Everyone's traumatized, all the old rules have been tossed out the window, and things are about to get unhinged.
And what's the first thing you notice when a society has kind of lost its collective mind? Well, you look at what people are wearing, or, in this case, what they're not wearing. This was an era where clothes apparently became optional.
So you're just, strolling down a Parisian street. A woman walks by, and she's wearing what can only be described as a wet bedsheet. Seriously, the fabric is so sheer you can see everything. No corset, no petticoats, no filter whatsoever.
So, you had these two groups, basically the influencers of the day. The women, the Merveilleuses, were all about those see-through dresses. Then you had the men, the Incroyables, who looked like they walked off the set of a Tim Burton movie, but on a budget. We're talking huge collars and pants so tight it's a miracle they could walk. This wasn't fashion. This was a society-wide cry for help.
Okay, so the sights were a lot. But if you think that was wild, just wait till you get a whiff of the place. Let's talk about the smell, because it was a full-on sensory attack.
In our world, being clean is a good thing, right? Well, back then, it made you look suspicious. Like really suspicious. People literally believed that taking a bath was like sending an open invitation for diseases to just waltz right into your body. If you smelled like soap, you were probably up to no good.
So how did they deal with the aroma? Perfume. But hold on, we're not talking about something you'd pick up at a department store. The main ingredients were things like rotted animal fat, musk from a whale, and glands from a fox. The goal wasn't to smell good, it was to smell strong. Strong enough to knock a horse out. And this whole aversion to washing, it went all the way to the top. It even changed the definition of romance. And believe me, the emperor himself had a unique take on it.
This is a real quote. Napoleon wrote this in a letter to his wife, Josephine. He said, "Do not wash. I am coming." I mean, forget flowers. The height of passion in Napoleonic France was basically biological warfare.
Okay, so you can't trust the fashion, you can't trust the air. Surely a nice dinner party would be safe, right? Nope, absolutely not. Turns out even just eating and socializing was a life-threatening experience.
Imagine you're at a dinner party. You're handed a piece of bread, a baguette. You go to take a bite and crack! There goes the tooth. See, a lot of people only baked bread a few times a year, so it wasn't food. It was basically a building material. You needed a saw to get through it.
But forget the killer bread for a second. The most exclusive parties in Paris, the ones everyone was dying to get into, they had a really, really grim password. Any guesses what it was?
Welcome to the victim's ball. To get on the list, first, you needed a close relative who'd met Madame Guillotine. Second, you'd wear this little red ribbon around your neck, just to mark the spot. And the signature dance move, a sharp little head jerk to mimic, well, you get the picture. It was basically grief-themed cosplay for the rich.
And the conversation was just as dark. Flirting was just trauma bonding. You'd literally have people saying things like, "Oh, the guillotine got your dad? It got my mom. We have so much in common." It's just wild.
So you stumble out of this bizarre party back onto the streets, and you realize the entire city is basically a toilet. With no public sanitation, guys would just go right there on the street. It wasn't even a big deal. It was just Tuesday. And that attitude, that lack of hygiene, it seeped into every part of their lives.
And that brings us to our final section. And honestly, this might be the most horrifying part of all. We're diving deep into personal hygiene. So yeah, you've been warned.
Let's start with a simple hello, or what should be simple. The cheek-kissing greeting was like a high-stakes social dance with no instructions. How many kisses? 2? 4? Start left or right? You get it wrong, you've started a family feud. Your lips accidentally touch? Whoops, guess you're married now.
But as stressful as that was, the real terror was waiting for you in your bathroom. It's time to talk about brushing your teeth.
So, what were your options for toothpaste? Well, you could use some burnt breadcrumbs, maybe some ash from the fireplace, a little swig of old wine. But if you were really fancy, if you wanted the absolute top-of-the-line treatment, you went for the gold standard.
That's right, piss paste. The luxury toothpaste of choice was made from urine. They thought the ammonia was a great teeth whitener. So just let that sink in. The richest people in France were starting their day brushing their teeth with that, and nobody blinked an eye.
So, after all that, the see-through clothes, the death-themed parties, the urine toothpaste, what's the point? The point is that our romantic idea of history, it's a total fantasy.
Just remember Napoleonic France, where clothes were a suggestion, where bathing made you a suspect, where your dinner could double as a weapon, and where hygiene was frankly an act of aggression. So next time you're having a bad day, just be glad your bread is edible and your toothpaste is minty.
And it just leaves you with one last unforgettable thought. A question that someone somewhere in Napoleonic France had to ask themselves every single morning while getting ready for their day.